Hi there, come on in. I'm Fred Trost, and I tell you, I have been enjoying Michigan Outdoors this week because, well, we try to be much more than a television show. We've been at Outdoor-rama all week, and we will be through the weekend. In just a moment, we're going to do some flashbacks on Outdoor-rama. We're going to start with Tuesday night, Master Angler Night. But don't forget, right now, it's Thursday night, and it's time for Michigan Outdoors.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, it's history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties, we'll look around again at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan.
Okay, so we can see all the fish, a bass, a walleye. How big is that bass?
6 pounds, 4 ounces.
6 pounds, 4 ounces. And how big is that pike?
20 pounds, 13 ounces.
20 pounds. We'll be around to talk to you people. We have steelhead. We have a 35-pound Chinook salmon. Look at that crappie. Let me stop here. How big is that crappie?
It's 15 inches, 2 pounds, 2 ounces.
2 pounds, 2 ounces. Can we get a look at this one right here? You don't see a crappie that big very often. Where did you catch it?
I caught it in Foot Pond in Oscoda.
Wow, there's a lot of big fish that come out of Oscoda, that Osable River. In the backwaters, a speckled trout, some bluegill, nice bluegill. What about this muskie? How big is this?
This is 51 inches long, 33 pounds, 9 ounces.
Where does a guy go about catching a 33-pound muskie?
Right here at home, St. Clair.
St. Clair River or Lake St. Clair?
Lake St. Clair, out in Anchor Bay, just off the mouth of the Salt River.
And when did you catch it?
June 6th, opening morning, 7:20.
Fantastic. All the details right here. What is your name and where you're from?
Kerry Gentry. I live in East Detroit.
Congratulations. What a muskie, over 30 pounds. Now, here's an unusual fish. You folks recognize this one? Hold it up right there. That is called a bowfin or a dogfish. What is your name?
Jeff Cordeau.
Jeff Cordeau, and from where?
North Muskegon.
And how big is that dogfish?
13-1.
13 pounds, 1 ounce. Is that the state record?
He says he caught one bigger than this.
What is it, Ned? Is that the state record dogfish? Not quite. But I tell you, this is a fish that people haven't gone after too much, but they fight like crazy, don't they?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, now we have a channel cat here. How big is that one?
14 pounds, 1 ounce, 34 inches long.
And what is your name and where are you from?
Chuck Moreau from Saginaw, Michigan.
And where did you catch it, out in Saginaw Bay?
Wixom Lake, up near Edenville.
Okay, a nice channel cat, pretty tasty. Now we're here with some kids. We're going to end up with a 3 master angler fish here caught by kids. Jason Beckrow from New Lothrop. Jason, that's a pretty big brown trout. How was it?
Huh?
How was it to catch a brown trout that big?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know? Were you there?
Yeah.
You were? How long did it take to catch it?
Oh, about a half hour to 45 minutes.
Wow, that's quite a fish. You caught it off Manistee. You must be Mr. Beckrow.
I am. Yes, I am.
And what did you catch this brown trout on?
On a green Hottentot.
Green Hottentot. What a lure. Well, Jason, congratulations. An 8-year-old who caught a 22-pound brown trout. Now we have a fella here you've seen on Michigan Outdoors, one of my favorite bass fishermen. He caught the biggest bass that has been caught in this state in several years. And how big was it, Donnie?
26 inches and 8.5 pounds.
Boy, look at that. An 8.5-pound largemouth bass caught by 12-year-old Donnie Anderson from Mount Pleasant. Oh, we have one lady down here at Master Angler Night. Wow, I'll say. How big is this brown trout?
It's 24 pounds, 36 inches.
24 pounds. What is your name and where are you from?
Monica Zachary from Detroit.
Ah, I remember that name when it came through on the Master Angler pictures. How do you pronounce that again?
Zachary.
Zachary. I slaughtered it, didn't I, when I announced it on the air. A brown trout caught off of where did you say?
Grand Traverse Bay.
Wow, that's an awful nice fish. And you say this is the second largest one that was caught this year in the state?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, now who's your helper?
This is Lori. She helped me reel it in. It went for so long I needed some help, so she really deserves half the credit too.
How long did that? Whoops, go ahead.
She's my niece.
Your niece, okay. How long did it take to catch it?
35 minutes.
Wow, that's a great fish. Were there any men in the boat, or is it just you two?
No, my brother, Dave.
Okay, well, congratulations. These are some of the master angler fish that we're going to be talking about here a little more tonight, and I'll get around and talk to the rest of these folks. Quite a rundown. Where else can you catch fish like this but in Michigan? And where else can you see a spectrum of fish like that except on the stage at Outdoorama? Ed Big Buck Night last night was phenomenal. We had 80 people with trophy racks like I've never seen. Beautiful racks on stage, proud of it. It was a great night. And of course, with all these evenings, we also have debates, controversies.
Yeah, this is, a place where people not can only just come to see a show, but they can come to learn here.
Now, we had a discussion, of course, on chemicals and fish, or Michigan fish safety. You went out in the crowd with the camera.
Yeah, and some people, this was a kind of upsetting to them, and you can hear by these comments.
Well, it's sickening to hear, really. It's a darn dirty shame that our fish have to be contaminated the way they are.
Is this the first you've heard about this?
No, I haven't. I've been hearing it right along, but I thought it would be cleared up by now.
Have you changed the way you're eating your fish now because of this? Because, you're supposed to skin them and cook them a certain way now.
I really don't eat them that often, but I love fishing very much. And I go out to Frankfurt doing my fishing. And to see the size of the fish I've been catching are wonderful. But it kind of hurts me now because of this contamination.
I am a woman that happens to can a lot of salmon, but for a lot of years we've skinned them and taken all as much fat as we could off, and we don't use any of the belly, and we've just kind of tried to do the best that we could because the fish has a good taste. And we don't eat an excess amount, but we do eat.
Well, now, are you scared by this news?
A little bit, but I think we've taken the best precautions that we can. I'll can maybe 15 or 20 salmon a year, and then I don't can them next year, so that they last quite some time. And we're just doing the best we can. I don't really think it scares us that much, but...
You can see that those were a couple of people who were kind of upset on the issue. Next week, I'll have some comments on the snagging issue.
Snagging, that was a hot one. And tonight at Outdoorama, you people who are watching right now aren't at Outdoorama. You can't be, but it's Sporting Dog Night. We have over 25 breeds of hunting dogs down there. Going to be fantastic. But to give you a little preview of some of what you've missed, let's go to Tom Dokken and some of the dogs in his Retriever Act. This English Pointer, Tom, doesn't look nearly as calm and friendly and outgoing as your Retrievers.
Well, normally speaking, these dogs are bred to run, seek game. You're going to notice that they're not going to be hanging around your heels as much. In fact, most people are generally looking for them if they're not under control.
They range far and wide.
Very much so. These dogs are really bred for the quail hunting down south in wide open country, although now we're starting to see them more and more up in the Midwest for pheasants and grouse.
What do they like to have as a pet?
The key to having them as a pet is getting them at a young puppy stage to get them used to your lifestyle. Then you can get, really the best out of them and get them in to work a little bit closer for you.
But this particular dog, stays on point to an unusual degree, doesn't she?
Right. This, if you'd have seen this dog about a year and a half ago, you'd have wondered if we'd have been able to keep her in the building. She had a lot of the same traits that most of the pointers do, a lot of run. But now she's conditioned to stay in close. She is an exceptional dog.
You do have her well trained. Well, we'll see her a little bit later in the stage show. Why don't we put her off to the side here and bring out your other retrievers? You have 3 retrievers in the act right here. Why don't you bring out Blackie?
Blackie.
Now, Blackie is unusual because, why?
Well, he's a yellow Labrador retriever.
But that's not the most unusual thing about Blackie.
No, Blackie is probably the world's fastest retriever you've ever seen. He accumulates a speed of at least 5 miles an hour when he's running. He's an old-timer to our show circuit.
Now, is Blackie the one who points?
No, Blackie is an all-around retriever. He's a duck and a pheasant dog. Tuffy is the one that points.
Okay, that's Tuffy. We'll see Tuffy a little bit later. How does the lab Tuffy get around to pointing? I mean, why is that?
Well, they naturally don't point. We decided when Tuffy was a puppy that we were going to start working him like actually a pointer. And through work at the puppy stage, we gradually got him so we'd hold for a food reward and wait for it, and then we carried it on into the field. He points like any pointer does on wild game.
Okay, well, terrific. Terrific. We'll put Blackie back in here. Why don't you bring out the chocolate and...
Yep.
And is that full choke, the other one?
Choke. That's full choke there, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
This is a chocolate lab, which is a little an unusual coloration, but is becoming more popular. I hear a lot of people say that they want to buy a chocolate lab.
They are getting more and more popular. As you can see, they are really a beautiful dog. They are a Labrador Retriever. There really isn't any difference in the breed. Basically, the breeding up until, say 5 years ago wasn't real strong. Now you can get good chocolate Labrador retrievers.
Okay, well, not the slight full choke, the normal black lab. Why don't we bring out this unusual retriever, though?
Here. All right.
These dogs are really keyed up. We're going to bring out what is a dog that I have never seen before, and I think few people have. A curly-coated dog. And what is it, Tom?
This is an American Water Spaniel. Now, this is a relatively old breed of dog. This particular dog here is 10 months old, reaching his adult height, and we don't have him in the show this year. We're grooming him up, getting him ready for next year's show. We're getting him used to the people, the crowds, and light.
Well, when someone could have a Labrador Retriever or a Golden or a Chesapeake, why would they want an American Water Spaniel?
They're a small dog, they're compact, kind of a rarity, and in any breed you get your diehards that really want to stick to a breed. This is a very good upland dog as well as a waterfowl dog.
Oh, being a Spaniel, it flushes?
Yes, it does. It flushes.
Are they good retrievers?
Yes, they are. A lot of emphasis is really on the puppy stage. Now, we've had this little guy flushing and retrieving since he was 4 months old. Very important.
Okay, an American Water Spaniel, one of the unusual dogs that will, be in your act next year, Tom?
Hopefully we'll be back here and everybody can take a look at him next year.
Well, those were just 3 breeds out of some 25 breeds that are on stage at Outdoorama tonight, and there's a celebrity that we have on Michigan Outdoors, David Michael Duffy. Anybody who knows the dog world knows that, Dave, you've been writing your column, Hunting Dog column in Outdoor Life magazine for how long?
Since 1959.
And you've been training dogs professionally?
Yes, almost all that time.
What type of dog do you specialize in?
Well, virtually any gun dog. I don't specialize.
You've done them all?
Yeah. I like to get a feel for all of them so that I know what I'm talking about when I'm writing about
Now,
them.
what about that Water Spaniel?
Well, that's a coincidence because the dog originated right in my home area, the Fox and Wolf River Valleys of Wisconsin.
It originated?
Yeah. The dog originally, they wanted some kind of a dog that would serve as a small skiff dog. And when they went out duck hunting back in the late 1800s by waterway, wouldn't bring half the marsh back in with them. This dog kind of evolved and was breeding true to type, and Dr. Pfeiffer in New London, Wisconsin, applied to the United Kennel Club in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
And that's
registered the first dog as Curly Pfeiffer in 1920.
Oh, but now this guy knows everything you want to know about all types of hunting dogs. But let's go right now to Tom Dawkins' act. Some of the dogs in his act, I want you to comment on this, Dave. We started out with a retrieving here of live ducks. Now, you do this commonly in training, don't you? You shackle the ducks?
A shackled duck, and every once in a while, one of the old ducks that you're using or a long time breaks a shackle, and some of them will actually come swimming towards the dog when you're training. They know what's coming. They're picked up and carried.
Well, people do get concerned that maybe this is hard on the ducks, but Tom uses these same ducks night after night. Look at full choke, leap.
Well, a lot of people get concerned about a lot of things they don't know anything about. But that's a beautiful dog going into the water like that. Shows a lot of drive and eagerness.
Now, not all retrievers, even though we've been told that they love water, they, take to a water like a duck or take to the water like a retriever, a lot of them will stay on land for as much of a retrieve as possible.
Well, it depends on what you're doing. A smart dog, that may be the quickest way to get there and get back. If you're training a field trial dog, of course, you don't want that. You want him to go out in a straight line and come back in a straight line. A hunting dog, it really doesn't make a great deal of difference as long as he gets the duck. But it's a lot more spectacular and straight to have him go out in a line. And, of course, there's a possibility that if he runs around the bank or something, he may lose the mark.
Well, now, here's an English pointer in Tom Dawkins' Oak Ridge Retrievers Act.
Right.
Now, look at him hold on point. I mean, Tom can actually move him.
Well, the handling he's doing of the dog actually staunches the dog or intensifies his desire to stay put. You can even try and push a dog a little bit into it. He'll resist you, and he'll stay up tighter than he was before.
That's quite a thrill for a lot of people who have never seen a dog point.
That's right.
Sit down there in the bleachers and watch a dog actually point. He used a bundle of feathers there, a wing from a duck.
Right.
Now, here's a yellow lab, Tuffy, the lab that points.
Yeah, you get a few of them that will actually point naturally, and if you work long enough on any of them, you can teach them to stand birds, which is, I suppose, a form of pointing. It isn't the natural, intense thing, but they will learn to stand there and point very much in the manner of a pointing dog. Pointing should be a natural thing to them, just like picking up and carrying should be for a retriever.
Okay, you're the expert. You've handled, trained, worked at field trials for virtually every breed of dog. Which one is the best?
There really isn't any such thing. My only answer to that is I like any dog that does the job he's supposed to do the way he's supposed to do it. I don't care what color, what breed he is.
Well, what considerations should a family take into account in getting a hunting dog, if they want it for family use too?
Well, virtually all the hunting breeds are excellent family dogs because they are trainable, biddable, they fit in good with people, they want to please you, so forth and so on. I'd be hard-pressed to recommend a specific breed, but there may be things like size, length of hair, disposition, nervousness that are important.
I tell you, you have the answers. If you don't rush down to Outdoorama tonight and catch David Michael Duffy, read his column in Outdoor Life. It's fantastic. Thanks, David. It's really a pleasure having you here. And now I'm going to go to somebody else who really knows his stuff. You know, there's a stereotype, Rod Lawrence, of artists that sit in their Manhattan condominiums and do paintings, and you're a wildlife artist of the year. And that's not the scoop on you, is it?
No, not entirely. I live in a log cabin built 1939. I have a trout stream by me. I'm surrounded by woods.
And up in where, Kalkaska?
Yeah, between Kalkaska and Grayling, Kalkaska County.
And you've been doing this since when?
Full-time since '73.
A full-time wildlife artist. That's some real romance in that. And of course, there's romance in your pictures too. This one of the grouse is the wildlife print of the year. Now, I bought one of those before they sold out in the limited edition, and I'm glad of that. But a lot of your pictures here, the pheasants and the turkeys, are boy and girl birds, a pair.
A lot of people like to see the male and female in all their pictures. It just makes for nice to have a couple like that.
Boy, that's beautiful. How long does it take to paint something like that, like those grouse?
Most paintings that size for me take anywhere from 150 to 200 hours.
So that's a month?
Yes.
About a month of work. And you've also done the trout stamp of the year, 1981. Well, this brook trout, for example, how do you go about painting a picture like that?
He came right out of the creek, right beside the house, and I laid him on the drawing board and started painting.
Oh, outstanding. So that's the trout stamp of the year. Anybody who got a trout stamp in 1981, you have that on the back of your license. Rod, you're going to be at Outdoorama through the weekend, tomorrow night, Saturday and Sunday, with a display of paintings, and you'll have them for sale?
Right. I'll have all of these. Some of these are for sale, and I'll have a few more of these besides.
And you'll be, will you do any working in your booth at all?
Probably doing a little remarking and answering any questions.
Okay, I tell you, this is a man who knows his stuff. I love a guy who hunts and fishes, and because his pictures really show it. Wildlife Artist of the Year, Rod Lawrence. Right now, you know, talking about Outdoorama and the Sportsman orientation, I had a chat with Tom Washington the night before last about how the Sportsman aspect was going. Well, Tom, we've given it a big shot this year during the week to bring out Sportsman. Has it worked?
It sure has, Fred. These are some of the best nights we have on record, and we're very, very pleased. Master Angler Night here tonight was just outstanding. Of course, we still have Big Buck Night, and we have Sporting Dog Night, and the hunters and fishermen are really showing up.
Have people noticed that it's maybe a little different crowd, or?
Oh, yes. I think that we're getting the real outdoor enthusiasts here in attendance at the show, and I think they're seeing the things that they want to see. We're very pleased.
Now, sports shows have had a tough time, outdoor shows included. What's the future for the show? Is it going to hang on?
Well, the shows have a tough time, not because of lack of attendance necessarily, but because of such extreme high overhead in the metropolitan areas. We really do have an awfully high overhead, and so we have to get good attendance to pull it off. But I think that these added features and these professionals and people that are in here telling people how to do things, where to go, when to go, are the things that the sportsmen are really looking for, and that's the theme that we're using.
How has the economy affected the show, the business that's being done at the show and the attendance?
It doesn't appear to have affected it too much. It did the first couple days. We were down a little bit. Of course, there was a lot of competition going on in the city. These last couple days have been just tremendous, and people seem to be out and thinking about spring, thinking about fishing and camping and getting out of doors.
The outdoors is a great place to be, and there's nobody that loves the outdoors and wildlife more than sportsmen. And I'm not kidding there. A group like Safari Club International spent in a provincial park in British Columbia spent about $20,000 on game management. But you know, a tragic thing is there's another group called Greenpeace. It's an anti-hunting group. They've spent not 1 cent on wildlife or game management, but they did spend $30,000 harassing hunters out there, hunters who have a right to hunt. And at Outdoorama, we're going to have a discussion tomorrow night among the outfitter and some people who were involved in confrontations with Greenpeace. One of them is Dick Melke, who's a member of Safari Club in Detroit. And I talked to him the other night about his experience being harassed in British Columbia. So there were the two of you there in your hunting camp, and how many of the Greenpeace people?
There was about a dozen of them, but there was always about 8 of them would come at a time to our campsite, and they would all sit, you know, around the campsite at different angles. Everybody had a camera or a tape recorder, and they were constantly taking pictures or taping your voice, and of course they usually have one person harassing you.
Like harassing you in what way?
Oh, they'd ask you what the hunting, does this make you feel like a big man here out hunting these poor little animals? Is your love life at home not up to par? Is this what you're trying to do, is to prove yourself?
Well, how did you respond to them?
We kind of laughed at them, Fred. Just kind of ignored them and laughed at them, and of course this made them matter because they didn't get the response that they really wanted out of us, and that was to shout back at them.
But how could you live with this for 21 days in a campsite that's supposed to be back in the wilderness?
When you pay $10,000 for a 21-day hunt, you bite your tongue many, many times because you know, like I say, that what was in the back of their mind was the fact that they wanted you to swing on them, hit them. That way they could have you arrested, and then they could have the RCMPs come in, and of course they'd arrest you for assault and battery, and they'd give you a hard time for the next 2 or 3 weeks, and after your hunt was all over with, why, they just dropped charges. So we kind of figured that out between ourselves and said, well, we'll bite our tongue and show them that sportsmen are nice, gentle people.
Dick Melke for sure is a gentle person to be able to put up with that for 3 weeks. But here are two fellows, Ray and Reg Collingwood, the outfitters who were out there in British Columbia, who have put up with this for 3 years, until one day last summer, when it all came to a head and the Greenpeace people left. It was a violent confrontation that you guys were afraid of. Your hunters had been intimidated for 3 years. But you were concerned about being arrested? Lawsuits?
There was that concern, all right, but, you know, we had approached the RCMP and
That's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Right, and asked them to, the government to bring legislation, and they weren't getting on with it. And the police, there was nothing they could do, and they had this lady to the point of hysterics and crying, and 25 miles from the middle of nowhere.
This was a woman from Austria hunting with her husband. Well, you were there, Reg. You handled the horses on those hunts out there. What was the state that day? What was the condition of things?
Okay, the lady is over 60 years old, and she didn't come over here to see me get in a battle with over these people, and I tried to avoid it as much as possible, but she was really scared, and she was crying, and she wanted to go home, and this was her second day. And she had traveled all the way from Austria. So I got hold of Ray on the radio. I said, I've gone now, this is my second day, I've traveled, we're at the end of this canyon. I says, I'm not going anymore. I says, we're going to deal with this, and something's got to be done.
So bring some guides, and let's have a little chat with these Greenpeace fellows. Well, we should explain that this isn't harassment like signs and posters and, you know, don't hunt you meanies. I mean, it's like, what, locker room talk?
That's right. Lewd language, stuff that we can't even begin to talk about here.
And they were organized. I mean, how many of them were there out there?
Oh, times in the years up to 22.
22 at a time. And they had, as I understand it, airplanes?
Airplanes, helicopters.
Two-way radios.
That's right.
And wherever you went, you tried to hide and get away from them, they somehow would find you and follow you, bugging you the whole way.
It was a number of times, because I knew the area, I was successful to avoid any confrontation. But after 3 years, they began to figure out, and they had obtained maps where the trails and everything were.
Now, on this day, don't mean to cut you off here, Reggie, but on this day, when the confrontation came, the woman was crying. Reg said he had it. You flew in with the guides. What happened?
Yeah, I brought in one of our pilots and one of my other guides, and I said to them, it's time to hit the road. You know, this Austrian had got a fine sheep, an 11-year-old specimen, and they had were wanting to photography at that time, but they kept persisting on them, and I told them to hit the road, and they told me in so many words to get lost, and
well, that's a gentle way of putting it. It erupted into a fight, 5 Greenpeace versus 4 Collingwoods. 5 Greenpeace were down, Collingwood still standing. That's the long and short of it. But since that time, Greenpeace has not been back. It's something you guys, I got to congratulate you. As sportsmen, we're proud of what you didn't do in the peacefulness and avoiding confrontations. And I want to tell you as an editorial, I'm proud of what you did. I mean, it's time that if the Mounties and the police aren't going to do something about it, you know, I don't promote vigilantism, but hey, us sportsmen have had it with this. And I hope the Greenpeace people and other people who want to harass sportsmen get the message. You know, we're going to give you guys a special award at our Sportsman's Recognition Banquet, which is coming up.
Well, here we are at our booth at Outdoorama, the Michigan Outdoors booth. I hope you'll come and join us here. We have, let's see, tomorrow night is Michigan Outdoors Night, Ed. That's going to be a good one. Dr. Howard Tanner will be here. We're going to have a lot of festivities. Dave Ritchie, Outdoor Writers, and then Saturday is Wildlife Discovery Day. Sunday is Travel Day, and that's going to wrap up Outdoorama. So come down and join us. Now, I got to do a little business here. Ma'am, is your husband going to take you to the Sportsman's Banquet? No, now hold it, Okay, now this is the first annual. This is the first annual banquet. It's sort of I'm proud to be a sportsman night, okay? And it's going to be for hunters and fishermen and their wives to come out. It's going to be a class dinner. It's really going to be good, and it's going to help raise funds for Michigan Outdoors. I want you to consider it, okay? It is. It's going to really be nice. Take this home and bring some
Funding for the preceding program was made possible in part by a grant from Farm Bureau Insurance Group and its agents throughout Michigan.
From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around again, and all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. Sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you of the beauty in the state of Michigan.